Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be looking at how AI is transforming the world of finance and accounting, a topic that you specifically requested we cover. You've provided some excerpts from a research report, AI in Finance and Accounting.pdf, and joining me to break down these really complex ideas is, as always, our insightful expert speaker. The report predicts the market for AI in finance will reach a massive $95.3 billion by 2028. So, what specific areas within finance are driving this growth? And what opportunities does it unlock for you, the listener?
What's fascinating here, is that AI's role in finance is going beyond just, simple automation. It's going into strategic decision support. This isn't just about saving time or, cutting costs. It's about using AI to make smarter choices about the future.
Okay, I see how that strategic shift is a big deal, but what does it actually look like, on the ground? Can you give me a concrete example?
Sure. Think about the typical finance professional's day, often filled with repetitive tasks like, reconciling transactions or, closing the books. AI can handle this, freeing up those professionals to, analyze trends, spot opportunities, and provide strategic advice to the business. It's a shift from number crunching to strategic thinking.
So it's like AI is taking care of the busy work so humans can focus on the big picture. Now, the report also mentions this huge amount of data in finance. Trillions of transactions, mountains of reports. It's almost like trying to find a needle in a haystack, right? How can AI help you in your specific finance role make sense of this data overload?
Yeah. This is where what the report calls data deluge becomes a key driver of AI adoption. Traditional methods simply can't keep up with the volume and complexity of financial data. AI can sift through this data, find patterns, and highlight what truly requires your attention. Imagine having AI tell you the three most likely reasons your sales forecast is off, instead of you manually checking, dozens of variables.
That would be incredibly helpful. But beyond the data, the report also highlights the ever-growing complexity of financial regulations. It seems like AI could be a lifesaver for companies trying to navigate that.
Absolutely. Compliance costs are skyrocketing as regulations become more intricate. AI offers a way to automate compliance checks, monitor for potential issues, and even predict areas of risk. Instead of playing catch-up, financial institutions can use AI to be proactive about compliance.
So AI isn't just a nice to have in this environment, it's becoming essential. Now, the report also mentions some really impressive efficiency gains, something like a 25 to 40% improvement in core financial operations. Which processes see the most impact, and have there been any, unexpected benefits beyond just cost savings?
The areas that benefit most are often the ones with the most manual, repetitive tasks. Think invoice processing, reconciliation, even parts of the financial close process. AI takes over the tedious parts, allowing for, faster processing times and reducing errors. But what's interesting is that these improvements often ripple outwards. Teams that were previously, bogged down by those tasks now have bandwidth to focus on, higher value activities.
So the efficiency gains are freeing up teams to be more strategic, which ties back to that key shift we talked about earlier. Now, the report also dives into several specific ways AI is being used across different areas of finance.
Yes, we can see its impact on transaction processing, financial planning and analysis, and risk management. Each area leverages AI strengths in slightly different ways.
Let's break those down. What's an example of how AI is changing transaction processing?
Sure, one example is what they call touchless transaction processing. This involves using AI to automate tasks like invoice processing and reconciliation. Documents are automatically read and understood, data is extracted and validated, and, discrepancies are flagged for review. It's about making those often tedious tasks much, smoother and faster.
Okay, I can see how that would be a huge time saver. Now, what about financial planning and analysis? How is AI impacting that area?
AI is transforming how companies approach planning and analysis by enhancing forecasting, automating variance analysis, and providing, what they call dynamic scenario modeling. Imagine being able to model different financial scenarios based on real-time data and changing market conditions. Instead of relying on, static forecasts, you have a dynamic, almost living model of how different decisions might play out.
Okay, I see how dynamic scenario modeling could be really useful, but can you walk me through a real world situation where this made a difference, say in your own experience?
Yeah. I've seen it firsthand working with a manufacturing client. They were considering a major expansion, but faced uncertainty about, future demand and commodity prices. Using an AI-powered scenario modeling tool, we were able to create a range of potential outcomes based on various factors they could control, like production levels, as well as, external factors like commodity price fluctuations.
So instead of just hoping for the best, they had a data-driven way to evaluate the risks and opportunities associated with, different expansion scenarios.
Exactly. It allowed them to make a much more informed decision, one that considered both potential upside and downside risks.
That's a great example of how AI is helping organizations move beyond just reporting on the past and toward anticipating and shaping the future. Now, before we move on to specific AI software and tools, what about risk management? How is AI being used to, I guess, de-risk the world of finance?
AI is shifting risk management from reactive to proactive and predictive. Instead of just analyzing historical data, AI can identify emerging risks in real time, monitor them across different areas of the business, and even suggest potential mitigation strategies. Imagine an AI system that alerts you to a potential supply chain disruption weeks before traditional indicators would have picked it up, giving you valuable time to adjust your strategy.
That's incredible. So we've seen how AI impacts, like, tasks, but are there areas in finance where AI falls short? What can it do yet?
That's a great question. While AI excels at analyzing data and identifying patterns, it still struggles with tasks that require, nuanced judgment, ethical decision-making, or understanding complex human emotions. For example, AI can help assess credit risk based on a person's financial history, but it might miss subtle cues about, their character or their commitment to repaying a loan. Those are areas where human intuition and experience are still crucial.
We've talked about how AI is impacting, core areas of finance like transaction processing and risk management. But the report you provided also dives into how AI is being applied in specific industries, which is where I think things get even more interesting. It's like seeing those, abstract AI concepts come to life in like practical ways.
I agree. Each industry has its own, nuances and challenges, and it's fascinating to see how AI is being tailored to address those, specific needs.
So which industry jumps out at you first?
The report highlights some compelling use cases in banking, healthcare, and manufacturing, but the one that really caught my eye is the application of AI in, what they call banking and financial services regulatory compliance.
Ah, yes. The world of regulations, always a hot topic in finance.
Hmm.
What are some ways AI is making a difference there?
Financial institutions are facing a deluge of regulations, and it's a constantly, shifting landscape. AI is emerging as a critical tool to help these institutions not just keep up, but actually, get ahead of the curve.
So instead of just reacting to new regulations, AI can help them anticipate and prepare for what's coming.
Exactly. One example is, what they call automated regulatory monitoring, where AI is used to track and interpret changes in regulations. Imagine an AI system that constantly scans for new laws, analyzes their impact on the institution's operations, and alerts compliance teams to any necessary adjustments. That's a huge step forward from, manually trying to stay on top of everything.
That sounds incredibly helpful. But the report also mentions something called transaction surveillance, which sounds a bit more, well, intense.
It is. Transaction surveillance involves using AI to analyze massive volumes of transactions in real time, looking for patterns that might indicate, money laundering, fraud, or market abuse. Think about the sheer volume of transactions happening every second in the financial system. Humans simply can't keep up. But AI can sift through all that data, spot anomalies, and flag suspicious activity for, further investigation.
Wow, that's like having a superpower detective constantly watching over the financial system. But are there any risks with giving AI that much power? What if it misinterprets something or, raises a false alarm?
That's a valid concern, and it highlights the importance of human oversight and careful calibration of these systems. AI isn't perfect, and it can make mistakes. The goal isn't to replace human judgment, but to, augment it. These AI systems are designed to be tools that assist compliance professionals, not replace them entirely.
That makes sense. It's about using AI to make the system more efficient and effective, not to eliminate human involvement altogether. Now, beyond those two examples, are there any other ways AI is being used in regulatory compliance?
Yeah. The report also mentions, regulatory reporting automation. This uses AI to streamline the often tedious and complex process of generating reports for regulators. This ensures, accuracy and consistency, which are critical in the world of compliance.
So AI is not only helping institutions stay compliant, it's also making the whole process, less painful.
Exactly. It's about taking those, repetitive, time-consuming tasks off the plates of compliance professionals so they can focus on, higher value activities like risk assessment and strategic planning.
Now, we've talked a lot about banking, But the report also highlights some interesting use cases in healthcare, another area known for its, complex financial processes.
Yes, healthcare is, ripe for disruption by AI. The report focuses on healthcare revenue cycle optimization, which is all about using AI to improve the financial performance of healthcare providers.
Now, I know healthcare finance is notoriously complex. Can you give me a specific example of how AI is being used to, like, streamline those processes?
Sure. One example is, what they call predictive denial management, which uses AI to identify potential issues with claims before they are submitted to insurance companies. This reduces the likelihood of denials and speeds up the payment process.
Denials are a huge headache for healthcare providers,
Hmm.
both in terms of lost revenue and administrative burden. So if AI can help prevent them, that's a huge win.
Absolutely. It takes the guesswork out of the process and helps providers ensure they're getting paid for the services they provide.
Are there other ways AI is being used to optimize the revenue cycle in healthcare?
The report also mentions, clinical documentation improvement, where AI analyzes medical records to ensure procedures are coded correctly for optimal reimbursement from insurance companies. It's like having a coding expert looking over your shoulder, helping you capture every dollar you're entitled to.
That's fascinating. So it's not just about preventing denials. It's about making sure the initial claims are, accurate and complete.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. AI is also being used to automate prior authorizations, personalize patient payment communications, and even predict the likelihood of, payment defaults.
It's like AI is touching every aspect of the financial process, from patient intake to final payment.
It is. The goal is to create a, seamless and efficient revenue cycle that benefits both providers and patients.
Now, moving from healthcare to something a little more, tangible, the report also dives into how AI is optimizing supply chains, which have been in the spotlight a lot lately.
Yes. Managing supply chain finance is a complex balancing act, especially with the disruptions we've seen in recent years. Manufacturers need to optimize working capital, balance inventory levels, negotiate favorable payment terms, and accurately forecast demand. It's a lot to juggle.
It sounds like AI could be a valuable tool in this environment. What are some specific ways it's being used?
One example is, working capital optimization. AI analyzes payment terms, inventory levels, and cash flow patterns to find opportunities to free up cash. It's about making the most of your financial resources, especially in times of uncertainty.
So AI can help companies weather those economic storms by making their finances more, resilient.
Precisely. And then there's, dynamic discounting automation, which is a bit more tactical, but still incredibly valuable. AI is used to identify opportunities to capture early payment discounts from suppliers. These discounts can be significant, but managing them manually can be a nightmare. AI automates the process, ensuring you don't miss out on potential savings.
That's smart. It's like AI is your personal deal hunter, constantly scouring for ways to save money.
That's a good way to put it. And these are just a few examples. The report also covers applications like, supply chain financing orchestration and integrated cash forecasting, both of which leverage AI to improve visibility and control over complex supply chains.
It's amazing to see how AI is being applied across such a diverse range of industries, each with its own unique set of challenges. But now I'm curious about those, cutting-edge innovations we touched on earlier. The report talks about things like generative AI and digital twins, which sound almost futuristic.
They are definitely pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI in finance.
Let's start with generative AI for financial intelligence. That one really caught my attention. What exactly is generative AI, and how is it being applied in finance?
Generative AI is a, fascinating field. It's a type of AI that can create new content, things like text, images, even code. It's powered by, large language models trained on massive data sets, giving them the ability to understand and generate human-like language with impressive accuracy.
So instead of just analyzing existing information, this type of AI can create something entirely new.
Exactly. It's a whole new level of capability, and the applications in finance are just, starting to emerge. For example, the report mentions conversational financial analysis, where users can interact with financial data using natural language. Imagine being able to ask complex financial questions and receive clear and concise answers in plain English, all powered by AI.
That sounds incredible. It's like having a personal financial advisor who speaks your language and can explain complex concepts in a way you can understand.
That's the idea. It's about making financial information more accessible and empowering people to make, more informed decisions. And it goes beyond just asking questions. The report also highlights applications like narrative financial reporting, where AI is used to automatically generate, written summaries and explanations of financial results. Imagine those dense, jargon-filled financial reports being transformed into, clear, concise narratives that anyone can understand.
That would be a game changer for transparency and communication. Are there any other examples of how generative AI is being used?
Yeah. The report also mentions investment research synthesis, where AI is used to analyze vast amounts of data from various sources to create summaries and generate insights that would be impossible for humans to uncover manually. It's like having a superpowered research assistant constantly working in the background to find the most relevant information and distill it into, actionable insights.
That sounds like a dream for anyone who works with financial data. It's like AI is taking all the heavy lifting out of the research process.
Exactly. And then there's the really exciting stuff, the things that are still on the horizon. The report talks about scenario narrative generation, where AI is used to create detailed narratives of different potential financial futures. Imagine being able to see how different decisions might play out over time, not just in terms of numbers, but in terms of compelling stories that, paint a vivid picture of the potential outcomes.
That's like AI writing a choose-your-own-adventure story for your finances.
It is. It's about using AI to explore possibilities, to understand the, complex interplay of different factors, and to make more informed decisions about the future.
Generative AI sounds incredibly powerful and transformative. But what about that other emerging innovation, the finance digital twin concept we discussed earlier?
The idea of creating a digital twin of a company's financial system is incredibly exciting, and it's closely linked to the concept of, finance digital twin and simulation highlighted in the report.
Can you remind me how this digital twin idea works and what its potential benefits are?
Sure. A digital twin is a virtual replica of a real-world system, in this case, a company's finances. It uses real-time data and, AI-powered models to simulate how the system will perform under different conditions. You can use it to test out different scenarios, evaluate the impact of, potential decisions, and identify areas for improvement. It's like having a virtual sandbox where you can experiment without real-world consequences.
So instead of making decisions based on gut feeling or static spreadsheets, you can actually see how different choices might play out in a dynamic, simulated environment.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of financial planning and decision-making. You can run simulations of things like, mergers and acquisitions, new product launches, even the impact of different economic conditions, all within this virtual financial world.
It's like having a crystal ball for your finances, but one that's grounded in data and powered by AI.
That's a great way to put it. It's about using AI to gain a deeper understanding of your financial system, to anticipate, challenges, and to make more strategic decisions.
Now, these emerging innovations are incredibly exciting, but I imagine there are also challenges in implementing these cutting-edge technologies.
You're absolutely right. These are still relatively early stage technologies, and they require, significant investment in terms of data infrastructure, technical expertise, and change management. But the potential rewards are significant, and I believe we'll see rapid adoption of these technologies in the coming years.
It sounds like we're on the cusp of a major shift in how we think about and manage finances, and AI is at the heart of that transformation. But I also imagine there are broader implications of all of this that go beyond specific technologies or applications.
Absolutely. The rise of AI in finance isn't just about adopting new tools, it's about adapting to a fundamentally new way of working. It's about rethinking processes, reskilling workforces, and reimagining the role of finance in the modern organization.
So it's a transformation that goes far beyond simply implementing new software.
Exactly. It requires a shift in mindset, a willingness to embrace change, and a commitment to continuous learning and adaptation.
Now, what advice would you give to organizations that are just beginning their AI journey in finance?
I would emphasize three key areas: clarity of purpose, data readiness, and a people-centric approach. First, define your goals and objectives. Don't just jump on the AI bandwagon without a clear understanding of what you're hoping to achieve.
So it's about having a strategy, not just chasing the latest shiny object.
Exactly. Next, assess your data foundation. AI relies on high-quality, accessible data. Invest in data integration, data quality management, and data governance to ensure your data is a valuable asset, not a liability.
Data is the fuel that powers the AI engine.
Exactly. And finally, remember that technology is only part of the equation. Focus on the people and the culture. Invest in training and development to upskill your finance professionals. Foster a culture of, innovation and collaboration, and clearly communicate how AI will be used to enhance, not replace, their roles.
So it's about empowering your people, not replacing them.
Precisely.
Now, what about individuals working in finance? How can they stay ahead of the curve and thrive in this AI-driven future?
I would encourage them to embrace a growth mindset and be open to, continuous learning, stay curious, experiment with new tools and technologies, and be willing to adapt as the landscape changes. Don't be afraid to specialize in an emerging area of AI in finance, where the demand for expertise is growing rapidly.
It's about being proactive, not reactive. It's about recognizing that the skills you need today might not be the same skills you need tomorrow.
Exactly. And remember that AI is a tool. The human element, creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence will always be essential in finance. Focus on developing those uniquely human skills, and you'll be well positioned to thrive in an AI-driven world.
Now, before we move on, I have to ask you to put on your futurist hat for a moment. What are some of the biggest trends and predictions you see shaping the future of AI in finance over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
That's a great question. Predicting the future is always a bit risky, but I do see several trends that are likely to accelerate. First, we can expect to see even greater automation in finance. Tasks that were once considered exclusive to humans, like financial analysis and risk assessment, will increasingly be performed by, AI systems.
So the automation trend is only going to continue.
It is. But it's important to remember that automation doesn't necessarily equal job displacement. As certain tasks are automated, new opportunities will emerge in areas like, AI development, governance, and ethics.
So it's not about fearing automation, it's about understanding how to leverage it to our advantage.
Exactly. Another trend is the growing importance of real-time data and analytics. Businesses are becoming more digital and data-driven, and they need real-time financial insights to make informed decisions. AI-powered systems will be crucial for processing and analyzing that data in real time, providing decision makers with, up-to-the-minute information.
It's like having a constant pulse on the financial health of your organization.
Precisely. And this leads to another trend, the rise of predictive and prescriptive analytics. AI can analyze vast data sets to predict future outcomes, identify potential risks and opportunities, and even recommend specific actions to optimize performance.
So AI is becoming a strategic advisor, helping organizations make smarter decisions.
Exactly. And finally, I believe we'll see a growing emphasis on responsible AI in finance. As AI systems become more powerful and pervasive, we must address the ethical and societal implications of their use. We can expect more regulations, industry standards, and best practices to ensure AI is used responsibly and transparently in financial decision-making.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the ethical context in which it's used.
Absolutely. Responsible AI is crucial for building a future where AI benefits everyone.
We've explored the incredible potential of AI in finance, from automating tasks to reshaping entire industries. But now let's get down to what matters most, and that's you, the listener. What does this AI revolution mean for your career, your financial decisions, and your future in this rapidly changing world?
That's the key question, isn't it? It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of, new technology, but the real impact is felt at the individual level.
Exactly. So let's tackle the big one head on. Many people worry about, AI taking their jobs. What's your take on that fear, especially in the finance world?
It's a valid concern. AI will undoubtedly automate certain tasks, and some jobs will inevitably be affected. However, history teaches us that technological advancements also create new opportunities, new industries, and new jobs that we can't even fathom right now.
So instead of viewing AI as a threat, we should focus on understanding how to work alongside it and even leverage it to our advantage.
Precisely. It's about adaptation and evolution. Rather than clinging to tasks that AI can do, better and faster, focus on developing the skills that complement AI, the ones that require, uniquely human abilities.
Could you give some specific examples of those skills, especially for someone working in finance?
Absolutely. Start by understanding the, core concepts of AI and how they are being applied in your area of finance. If you're in financial planning and analysis, for example, familiarize yourself with, AI-powered forecasting and scenario modeling tools. In risk management, dive into how AI is used to detect and mitigate risks. There are so many online resources, courses, and even podcasts like ours that can help you get up to speed.
So knowledge is power in this case. The more you understand AI, the better equipped you'll be to navigate its impact.
Exactly. But beyond the technical side, soft skills will be crucial in an AI-driven world. Communication, collaboration, creative problem solving, critical thinking. These are the skills that AI can't replicate, and they will become even more valuable as AI takes over, more routine tasks.
It makes sense. You need to be able to understand the data AI provides, communicate insights to colleagues and clients, and ultimately make judgments that go beyond what an algorithm can do.
Precisely. And for those, feeling ambitious, consider specializing in emerging areas of AI in finance. AI auditing, data ethics, AI-powered investment strategies, the demand for expertise in these areas will only increase.
So you're saying that this is also a time of opportunity, not just disruption.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned earlier about AI creating jobs we can't even imagine yet. Can you give me some examples of what those might look like? I love a good, futuristic prediction.
Okay, let's speculate a bit.
Hmm.
Imagine roles like, AI ethicist, ensuring that AI systems in finance are used responsibly and ethically. Or perhaps AI trainer, specializing in training AI algorithms on, specific financial data sets. We might even see AI financial therapist helping individuals navigate the emotional and psychological challenges of managing their finances in a world increasingly influenced by algorithms.
Those are fascinating possibilities. It's exciting to think about how this technology might reshape not just the jobs we do, but also the way we think about finance and our relationship with money.
It's a truly transformative time, and I believe that those who embrace change, stay curious, and continue learning will be the ones who thrive.
That's a great message to end on. To our listener, we hope this deep dive has empowered you to navigate the exciting world of AI in finance. Remember, this isn't just about technology, it's about you. Invest in yourself, your skills, and your knowledge, and you'll be well prepared for whatever the future holds. And with that inspiring thought, we'll wrap up this deep dive into AI in finance and accounting.
It's been a pleasure sharing this deep dive with you.
A huge thank you to our expert for sharing their incredible insights. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a new and fascinating topic. Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.